Yo guys, welcome back to another video. I know it's been a minute since I last uploaded. I guess it was only a few days ago, but it's honestly felt like longer. Today, I'm going to be doing our 200 subscribers special. I know we hit 200 subs between now and the last time I uploaded, which is just kind of crazy to me. We doubled the goal that I set out to complete, and we're not even halfway there, and like the allotted time given, so that's just crazy. So yeah, 200 subs. I figured I'd do some sort of special. Originally, I was just gonna do an updated manga collection video, since I haven't done one of those since the spring, and of course, the spring video that I did do is my best performing video I have ever made. So I figured I'd do like a fall 2022 manga collection video, but I decided against that for now. I think I'm probably gonna wait to do one of those until maybe after the holidays, so that, sort of finalize my collection for the year of 2022. We're gonna have some more manga and stuff. It's just gonna be probably a better time to do it. So maybe early 2023, like in January, I'll do the full collection for 2022. But for today, I was watching a video made by my good friend Leon over at the Nerd Lounge, and he did a video basically talking about his journey as far as collecting manga, and how he got into it, all of that kind of stuff. And I figured, for a 200 subscriber special, that would be kind of a good idea for me to do. Talk about where, like how I got into all this that you see behind me, my few hundred volumes of manga I have, where all of this got started. And I know I talked about little bits and pieces of my own story here and there, over the last, how long has it been? 2 years that I've been making manga content, or manga and anime content. I've talked about it a little bit, but I figured, today I'm just gonna come at you guys and tell you guys my story, where I started, how I started, and how I came to be where I'm at now. So strap in and let's get into it. So firstly, when did I exactly come to love all of this stuff? Actually, it was when I was very young, probably like 5 years old. Sometimes I would catch Pokemon on TV on Cartoon Network. I think that was during the black and white era of Pokemon, so Gen 5. I would sometimes catch Pokemon on the TV. That was like rare, and I just remember like me being in like kindergarten and just like amazed by it when it would come on. And I would only catch it on like rare occasions, but when it was on, I was just amazed. But I remember a lot of days I would catch Beyblade on the TV, probably Metal Fusion or one of those ones, before Beyblade Burst and all that. I would catch that on the TV before going to like preschool or kindergarten, and I remember I would have the theme song stuck in my head on the bus. So that's kind of where I started with anime, just watching like Pokemon and Beyblade, like with a lot of people. But again, like with a lot of people, little me didn't really differentiate anime from just the other cartoons I watched, since, it was on Cartoon Network, so to me it was basically the same. I knew that it was different, it was a lot cooler than a lot of the other cartoons that were on at the time, but it was just cartoons at the end of the day. It wasn't until much later on in my life that I realized that, this is something called anime. And I think I was probably about 10 years old when I realized that. And around that time, I was super into Pokemon. I would catch Pokemon on when I was younger, just here and there. But I remember a good friend of mine, his mom had gotten me my first pack of Pokemon cards ever. And then after that, Pokemon basically absorbed my life for like a good 4 years. Between the games, the anime, the cards, just everything Pokemon, I was super into it. And that's, again, where I started to realize the difference between just cartoons and anime. It was during the Pokemon X and Y days, which Gen 6 is honestly the best gen. Don't at me, it's just facts. XYZ was the best season of the anime. I was just a huge Pokemon fan. Of course, I don't know if I've talked about this before, but Pokemon Alpha Sapphire was my first ever Pokemon game. That was legit. So yeah, super into Pokemon. Also around that time was when like Yokai Watch came out, so I was super into that. There was also, what's it called? Beyblade Burst. I was into that too. A lot of those like kid anime I was still into, but at this point, I was able to differentiate it. Also, a little bit before that, between when I was little and when I was like 10, I was into Digimon also. I remember Digimon Fusions was a big one. That was the one that I did watch. It used to be on Nicktoons or whatever. Also, I would see like commercials for Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal and thought that was cool. Again, didn't really find out what Yu-Gi-Oh! Was until much later on, but I remember seeing it and just being like, that's really cool. Now, it wasn't until the 4th grade when I had my first ever experience with manga. And I had a friend at the time who had the Pokemon Adventures manga, and I just thought it was the coolest thing. And I always would borrow his manga and read it. And so I read, I think, the first half of the red and blue one. So I think it was like the first 4 volumes I read. That was legit. And then I think he moved or something, and so I didn't get to finish the series. But then in like 5th grade, I started getting into more anime and stuff. I think it was around that time I started watching Naruto, which, like pre-time skip, of course. Sword Art Online. I started watching Blue Exorcist, My Hero Academia. All of these were like my first ever anime that I ever watched. Also, I caught Dragon Ball Super when it first aired on Adult Swim. So I was watching I was current with Dragon Ball Super, again, watching Naruto, My Hero. I was binge watching, Blue Exorcist, SAO. I think those were like the main series that, I kind of started with. So it was that year that I actually started getting into manga. I believe it may have been the year before, or it was either that year or the year before, but for Christmas, my mom had gotten me the box set for Pokemon Adventures. So it was the first 7 volumes, which I still own to this day. They're right up here. Super yellowed and like faded on the volumes because I didn't really know how to take care of manga at the time. I wasn't super worried about it like I am today. Anyway, read all of that. I think we went on a little bit of a trip. It's like a 3-hour trip or something like that into the mountains. Because at the time I lived in Washington State, so there was like a big snowy mountain that we would go to during Christmas time. I think I read all of it. Like, seriously, I think I was saving it for the trip up there, but I'm pretty sure I read all 7 volumes like prior to us leaving, because like I could not help myself and I just sped through those volumes super quick. And I ended up finishing that, and then later on a good friend of mine got me the first volume of Blue Exorcist for my birthday, and then I started collecting Blue Exorcist. So those 2 were like my first ever manga, and then I started collecting My Hero Academia and got the first 3 volumes of those. So for a while, the only manga I had was like the first 5 or 6 volumes of Blue Exorcist. I think it was the first 5. I had the first 7 Pokemon Adventures, and then the first 3 of My Hero Academia. And then I sort of took a break from manga for a long time and just was collecting mainly Funko Pops. Of course, you guys know Funko was a big thing on my channel. A couple years ago, that's what I did. I collect Pops. I still have some of my Pops, but I did get rid of a lot of them. That sort of absorbed my life for a long time until I eventually got back into manga, and I think that was around late 2020. So I was I was still collecting pops, but I was slowly getting out of it as I started collecting manga again. I think it was around my birthday, actually. I really wanted to get manga, but I didn't really know where to start, because I was anime only, and it was during 2022 that I was watching a lot of stuff. Like, you know, everybody knows quarantine. You just had a lot of extra time. So I was binge watching stuff. Like, that's when I got into JoJo. I watched Kill la Kill. I don't think I watched Attack on Titan yet. What else did I watch? Seven Deadly Sins. And that's also, again, when I started my anime review series on my channel, and when I decided to take YouTube more seriously. So with all this new anime that I was watching, basically I had to choose a manga series that I wanted to be current with so that I could get ahead of the anime. And of course I knew that going into this was probably going to be a costly investment, so, you know, I had to pick a good series. So I think I ended up choosing My Hero Academia to be current with. And so I think for my birthday that year, I bought most of My Hero Academia. I think I had the first 3 volumes, and then I ended up just rebuying it in like a bundle thing. It was before the box set came out, obviously, but there was like a bundle on Amazon that had like the first 25 or so volumes. It was like 20 maybe, it was something like that. I think it was the first 20 volumes. And so, yeah, I just bought that and then went out and bought the other volumes that I was missing from that bundle. And I think at the time, it was like the first 25 volumes. That's what was out. So yeah, they didn't even begin the new arc, which was I guess My Hero Academia is behind me over there. The Liberation War arc. It was before that. It was still during like the My Villain Academia, all that stuff. So yeah, I binge read through that, and that's, if you guys remember, my first ever episode of manga review, which was, I believe, in January of 21, was volume 26 of My Hero Academia. And so in 2021, that was my big year for manga. I devoted all of like my time and money to that. I fully got out of collecting pops. I was still sort of collecting at the beginning of that year, but then like not even halfway through I just stopped, because I was getting more joy out of collecting manga, and it was such a better investment, honestly, because, you know, I would spend $30 on a pop on the secondhand market. You know, it would be a cool pop, and I would review it and look at it, but like it just sat there, you know, when I could spend $30 on 3 volumes of manga and read it and do a review on it, you know. It's just a better investment for me personally overall. So I just fully transitioned into collecting manga, and I believe it was at the beginning of the year there, sometime in the spring, I started popping off with manga content here on the channel. We still did anime review for a little bit there, but then I went into like more manga reviews, manga hauls and stuff. I started getting box sets. That's around the time I did like the Naruto box sets. Box sets 2 and 3 were in the spring. Got into Berserk, you know, Black Clover. All the way through 21, I did a lot of manga collecting, and that's where, you know, my collection grew exponentially in 2021. I'm trying to think what else I got. There was just a lot of stuff. I know that summer, or I got into JoJo, the manga. Fist of the North Star came out in that year. What else was it? Yes, Vinland Saga. That was more towards the end of the year, though. I did get into Chainsaw Man, too, which that was a big one. There was just a lot of stuff that I got into. And, of course, basically continued on with that pretty strong and pretty heavily into this year. And this year, I did a lot of shopping for manga, especially at the beginning of the year. Yeah, I have a problem. And so now, I mean, that's kind of where I'm at, you know? It all started when I was little, watching Pokemon and all that, like with most people. And now I've got all this manga, I do reviews, all that kind of stuff. And I'm happy where I'm at, you know? This is an investment that I want to stick with because it's just what I'm into. I've always been a collector, whether it was collecting Pokemon cards or Yu-Gi-Oh cards, Funkos. But manga is just something that I feel like I'm going to stick with for a long time. And something that I definitely want to hold on to. And I think the reason why I've stuck with manga for this long is honestly the community. It's sort of different when you're collecting other things and you're not really talking to many people about it. Like, you'll watch YouTubers and stuff, but there wasn't really a big community factor for me with like Funkos and stuff like that. But with manga, I mean, I was watching manga tubers. I got into the Chase of the Dark Sages server on Discord. I owe him a lot, honestly, for me being even a manga tuber and just manga collecting in general. That's where I started, like on his server, making friends and talking to people, and pretty much is the whole reason why I'm still collecting here today. And just met other manga tubers, other cool people in the community, and yeah, now I'm here. Anyways, guys, that is going to about do it for today's video. That is my story on how I became to be the otaku collector that I am today. I hope you guys did enjoy, and again, thank you guys so much for 200 subscribers here on YouTube. It's unfathomable, you know, like that many people enjoy what I do and what I create and me as a person, I guess. You know, never would have dreamed of having this number of subscribers. And it, you know, I know if the channel does grow in the future, I'll look back on this and be like, you know, that was such a small amount of subscribers. But for me now, I mean, it's just crazy. So yeah, thank you guys so much. Also, thank you for those of you who have been tuning into the streams. Of course, I did start streaming the other day. It was probably yesterday as I'm filming this. Started playing Ghost of Tsushima, so I'm probably actually going to stream here in a little bit. So if you guys tune into that, I'll be there. And yeah, be sure to join the Discord. Link will be in the description. All that cool stuff. Leave a like and subscribe. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.